News Talk 1070 KHMO presents On the Mark with Mark Hespin. News Talk 1070 KHMO presents On the Mark with Mark Hespin. On the Mark is powered by Cunis Country Honda Hyundai, your number one Honda and Hyundai dealer in the tri-state area at 221 North 36th Street, Quincy. Faith, family, and giving back. That's Cunis Country. And now, here's Mark Hespin.
Good morning, Tri-States, and wherever you may be listening on the News Talk 1070 KHMO app. This is On the Mark. I am Mark Hespin, brought to you by Cunis Honda Hyundai, your number one Honda and Hyundai dealer in the Tri-State area, 221 North 36th Street in Quincy. They are having a big event. It just started right now at Cunis this morning, so stop by their Cars and Coffee event. If you're driving around the Tri-States, stop on by Cunis Honda Hyundai on 36th Street, in between Main and State, right there across from Doors and More and KHQA and everything, and near the Casey's gas station. Stop by Cunis Honda Hyundai. Big coffee. They're giving away coffee, donuts. Got some special stuff going on at the dealership, so stop on by. Tell them Mark sent you. Welcome on into episode 206 of On the Mark here on this Saturday, October 14th. It is a wet, chilly, gray day here in the Quincy area, so hopefully it's a little bit brighter and sunnier wherever you may be and however you may be listening. As always, you can follow me on Twitter, on Instagram, at Mark Hespin. If you're listening to the show on the radio, I suggest following the show on Facebook as well. Just search On the Mark KHMO on Facebook. Get involved with the conversation with me there. I post kind of updates throughout the week as well. And a shout out to our Facebook Live groups, people that are following along and follow on Facebook. All right, we got a ton to get to on the show today. I got huge undefeated matchups in college football. I got gambling picks for you and a full Week 6 NFL breakdown. We got to talk the AL and NLCS, but first, let's start with: is there concern for the 5-1 Kansas City Chiefs? It's Hespin headline number one.
Hespin's headlines on the Mark.
I'm seeing a lot of noise on Twitter about, the Chiefs, they're 5-1, but man, they don't look right. Doesn't feel right. Didn't look, they're not blowing teams out. And I say to that, there should be no concern for the Kansas City Chiefs. I feel if I was a Kansas City Chiefs fan this morning, I would be feeling great. I wouldn't be concerned in the least bit. Listen, your only loss of the season was at home. Was that my guy Andy? He's commenting on the Facebook page. He's concerned. I will calm your concerns, Andy. Just listen. You're 5-1. Your only loss on the year was the first game of the season at home to a very good Detroit Lions team, and you didn't have Travis Kelce, right? And even in that game, you were very competitive. You probably actually should have won the game if you didn't have some drops from Tony and the wide receivers throughout. Mahomes still has not even been playing like Patrick Mahomes yet. It's early on in the season, and even in the game on Thursday night, had to struggled to get to that 300-yard mark, right? 30 of 40. It just hasn't looked like Patrick Mahomes. That shouldn't be a concern. Like, don't panic about that. You're winning games, and your offense hasn't even been clicking on all cylinders yet. That's huge if I'm a Kansas City Chiefs fan. You're going to figure it out. Andy Reid, these guys, let it bake. It's going to be okay. And a lot of people would argue, well, I am concerned. Pat doesn't look like he's having the MVP season like he did last year. Well, what Patrick Mahomes did last year, winning an MVP and a Super Bowl, is rarely done. If you want to win the Super Bowl, usually you don't want the MVP on your team. It's kind of like in the NBA. It's like, the guys who win the MVP, so much of the time the struggle is they're winning the MVP for a reason. It's because they're kind of carrying the whole team on their back and there's not enough depth. This Chiefs team is the best defense that Patrick Mahomes has had in his career, bar none. They can rush the passer. They have really, really solid back end. And in December and January football, that matters. It matters big time. You have playmakers all along that defensive line. And Patrick Mahomes will figure it out. He's still the best player in football. Now, I will say, if you are a Chiefs fan, should you be 100% confident they're going to win the Super Bowl? No, I'm not saying that. It's really hard to win a Super Bowl. Health plays a factor. And yes, there are things that you would like to see the Chiefs improve on. I agree. A running game is going to need to develop a little bit more. I don't love at times it feels like the running back position is just kind of throw a guy out there and stick to the wall. Pacheco, I'd like to see them get him going earlier in the game, take a little bit of pressure off Patrick Mahomes and that wide receiver core. Yeah, I'd like to see Rashid Rice, the rookie, start to develop a bigger role in this offense. Kelsey's nagging injuries, the knee and now the ankle, those are a concern. You'd like to see Rashid Rice develop a bigger role in the offense for this team. Kadarius Toney's been a non-factor. I mean, besides blowing the game in week 1. I mean, I think he's got, 92 yards through 6 games? That's crazy. I mean, 92 yards as you were supposed to be the kind of like the show-up number 1 option for this Chiefs wide receiver core at the beginning of the season. 92 yards with Patrick Mahomes through 6 games. And he's the 3rd most targeted player on the Chiefs roster. So, I mean, listen, it's not perfect. It's not all daisies and sunshine and everything. But the idea that there should be mass concern about the Kansas City Chiefs, I just don't see it. Again, historically, you don't want the MVP in this league. Think of all those Rodgers MVPs, Peyton Manning MVPs that led to non-Super Bowls. Even Pat's first season that he won the MVP, they failed out. They failed out in the playoffs, flamed out in the playoffs. Last year was a special season, and he's got plenty of time to get everything working and get everything going. I think that if you're a Chiefs fan, focus on, can we develop the run game? Can we not be so cute at times? And it does feel like the Chiefs play with their food a little bit. Andy Reid with the fake field goal, the wide receiver pass. It feels like they know they're going to win a game. They know they're going to beat the Broncos, and so they play with their food a little bit. That would frustrate me a little as a Chiefs fan. Like, hey, especially when things aren't clicking on all cylinders. If you're up 40-0, sure, fake field goal, wide receiver pass, and you're feeling good. But in a close game where even though it didn't feel close, it still technically was only a 2-score game, it felt like they get a little bit like they're playing with their food a little too cute. So those are all things to be, maybe frustrated with as a Kansas City Chiefs fan, but don't panic. Just don't panic yet. Trust me on this, don't panic. Now, the Chiefs have a tough schedule coming on up. When you're a Super Bowl champion and you're, and a number 1 seed, you get that tough schedule. But you have some real prove-it games. You get the Chargers at home next week. Then you go to Denver, and then it's the slog of Dolphins and Eagles. 3 of your next 4 games are against opponents that should be, or playoff teams, or battling for the playoffs, or in the AFC supremacy and NFC supremacy with the Eagles, Dolphins, and Chargers. 3 of your next 4. We're going to learn a lot about this Chiefs team over the next 4 games. I would say don't panic yet. Trust in Andy Reid. Trust the process. Trust Mahomes to figure it out. Get the rookie wide receiver Rice involved in the game plan more, and then try to establish that run game early. Get Pacheco going early so he can just use those legs, tough yardage late, and ground and pound wear teams down. Now, for the Denver Broncos, can I just say this? The Denver Broncos, I don't know what to do. People ask me, like, what should the Broncos do? I really have no idea. They are an enigma. Their only win on the year is against a Bears team, and they should not have won that game. The Bears completely fell apart. This should be a winless team with Sean Payton and Russell Wilson. And if you look at the box score, Russell Wilson, 1,305 yards, 12 TDs, 4 interceptions. If you look at just the statistics, he's having a better year than Patrick Mahomes. So that's why a lot of people go, Russ isn't the problem. But if you actually watch the games, if you're watching the games, and you watch the footage on Russ, there's no pop, there's no juice. Russell Wilson used to throw the most beautiful deep ball in the NFL. It would just land in Tyler Lockett's hands. and land right in DK Metcalf's breadbasket, 10 yards in front of the defender and for walk-in touchdowns. And there's just none of that Russell Wilson right now. He looks slow when he's trying to be mobile still in the pocket. It's like ever since he broke that finger in Seattle, and his last full year in Seattle, and now it's just like he's completely changed and he's gone. And I don't know what the answer for the Denver Broncos is. They have the Packers, Chiefs, Bills in their next 3 games. The Packers coming off a bye. They're at home against the Packers. Then they gotta play the Chiefs again and the Bills. This team, I mean, they could be, and they're trading off all these pass rushers, Randy Gregory and Clark, who they invested highly in the season. It feels like they're going into the tank mode. Sean Payton should feel safe, but for how long? I mean, if this season really unravels and this Denver Broncos team is a 2-3 win team, even the great Sean Payton is going to have to make sure he turns it around much quicker than he thought he'd have to, because this is a disaster in Denver. And I don't know what you do with the Russell Wilson contract. There's nothing you really can do. You're absolutely hamstrung by it. Denver's in a world of trouble right now. They don't have any assets. Remember, they traded picks for Russell Wilson. They traded picks for their head coach, for Sean Payton. They're paying both guys $100 million. It is a bleak situation for the Denver Broncos. I would say you just have to roll with Russ this whole year, and you just have to absolutely have definitive answer, yes or no, of what you're doing with Russell Wilson by the end of the year. Russell can keep putting up big stats, and he's putting up nice stats so far, but he just hasn't looked the same. It hasn't looked right. And, would you like to see a Sean Payton with a rookie quarterback? I think I would if I was a Denver Broncos fan. A Drake May, a Caleb Williams, a Michael Penix Jr. I'd like to see him with a young weapon like that. It's a disaster in Denver, and I got to be honest, I'm stumped with how to fix it. It's like you're just watching a car wreck in slow motion, and there's nothing you can do. When we come back, we have got to break down every single game, Week 6 on the NFL slate. I'll give you my lock, my upset of the week. We're just getting started. Episode 206 of On the Mark on this Saturday, October 14th. Broadcasting live and local here in our KHMO studios in the heart of Quincy. Brought to you by Cunis Honda Hyundai. We'll be back after just a short break.
Hey, Jen, I just stopped.
It is exactly why elites in the Biden administration, Wall Street firms like BlackRock, want to consolidate property. They need ownership. If you don't own the platform, the media, the news, or opinion product, then you don't control it. This is the future that is being imposed on the world. Catch me on the Glenn Beck program weekdays from 11 till 2 on 1070 KHMO, the news, talk, and sports leader.
1070 KHMO.
Welcome on back to On the Mark here on News Talk 1070 KHMO and the KHMO app, brought to you by the great people at Cunis Honda Hyundai, your number one Honda and Hyundai dealer in the tri-state area, 221 North 36th Street in Quincy. Stop by the dealership today. They're having a big event out there, giving away coffee, giving away donuts. It's their cars and coffee event. It just started at 9 a.m. It's going till noon at North 36th Street in Quincy, south of Broadway, north of State Street. You can't miss it there, across from the Village Inn and Casey's on Main there in Quincy. Cunis Honda Hyundai. Tell them Mark sent you. All right, let's get into it. Hespin headline number 2. A full breakdown of Week 6 in the NFL.
Hespin's headlines on the Mark.
So we look at Week 6 as a whole. I will say I am 3-6-1 with my lock and upset of the year so far. So I'm not off to a great start, but I'm hot recently. So a disaster of a start, and I'm now putting it together. I really feel strong about now knowing these teams and giving out the picks. So ride with me. I promise we're going to get back to 500. I promise you. Knock on wood, right? Let's get started. And actually, we're starting with one of my picks. The London game, the Ravens at the Titans at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. That kicks off in less than 24 hours from now. 3-2 Ravens, 2-3 Titans. I like the Ravens in this game, and they are my lock of the week. Ravens -4.5. Here's why. I'll tell you here's why. The Ravens got to London on Monday. The Titans got to London. They didn't leave until Thursday night, so they got there Friday morning. The Bills got to London last week. Same schedule, late Thursday into Friday morning. And the Bills sleptwalk through that game and only started showing up in the fourth quarter. And that's because they're the Bills and they're one of the most talented teams in football. That's not the Titans, right? That's not the Titans. So trust in the time zones, trust in the process of Harbaugh getting his team earlier. If the Titans were playing the Ravens on a neutral field in America, in normal time zones, you'd like the Ravens in this game anyways, right? The Ravens coming off a really tough loss where they should have beat Pittsburgh. They had drops. It can't get any worse. Good teams, good coach teams, they always bounce back. They have the better quarterback. They have the defense right now that is playing really solid football with Roquan Smith. And the Titans have just been an absolute up and down, unpredictable mess so far through the year. I like the Ravens. I like that they've been in London longer. I like the time zone adjustment for them. And I'll just say, trust Lamar in this game over anything you're getting from Ryan Tannehill. Ravens -4.5. It will be close. It'll be an ugly game, but I'm going to trust the Ravens to get out to an early lead. Hang on for dear life as maybe the Titans close it late, but still trust the Ravens 24-17, a victory over the Titans in London. Commanders at the Falcons. I like the Commanders in this game. They were embarrassed on Thursday Night Football. They had a ton of time off now to prepare for this game. Listen, the Falcons been playing good at home. These are two teams that are kind of both surprises so far in the year. But I think that overall, you'll see a Washington team that was embarrassed and will bounce back. This will be an ugly game. This will be kind of a turnover, low-scoring game. And I think that favors Washington as well. I trust their quarterback, Sam Howell, more than I trust Ritter for the Atlanta Falcons. You know me and my up-and-down thing with the Falcons so far this year. I like the Commanders on the road, upset the Falcons. Falcons are favored -2.5. I like the Commanders in an upset, but it is not my official upset of the week. So my Ravens is my lock. We have not got to my upset yet. I'll give you a hint. We're not going to get to it for a while. It's one of those late primetime games. Vikings at the Bears. 1-4 Vikings at the 1-4 Bears. Now, on paper, this is an ugly matchup, right? An absolute ugly matchup that no one should really care about. Okay? But I actually think this game is one of the biggest implication games of the year. The Chicago Bears are finally feeling like they're turning things around, right? And the talent is showing up. DJ Moore, Justin Fields have been on fire the last two games. 8 touchdowns, 1 interception, DJ Moore going off. The Bears had an NFC Offensive Player of the Week for the first time since 1999. Like, things are happening for the Chicago Bears, right? And on the flip side, you have a Vikings team that people predicted high. I had them in the playoffs as a wild card team. We thought that the Vikings would still be, even though they were a 13-win team last year, they maybe take a step back and be a 10-win team, but still have some real juice. They've been a disaster, an absolute disaster, 1-4. The Bears are underdogs at home against this Vikings team. I love that for the Chicago Bears. No Justin Jefferson. If the Vikings lose this game, you have Justin Jefferson on IR with a hamstring injury. They fall to 1-5. The rumors or the trade rumors of Kirk Cousins will really start swirling. Kirk Cousins has a no-trade clause, so if you're Kirk Cousins, you don't have to do anything. Like, there's a lot of implications to this game for the loser. If the Chicago Bears lose this game, I mean, it is a disaster. Like, it is depending on how they lose this game, it's you fire the coach. Like, you can't lose this game to no Justin Jefferson Vikings team. Like, you just can't do it. And also for Justin Fields, it's the big question mark. Can he put multiple games in a row? We've seen 2 good games in a row. Can we get a 3rd good game in a row? Can he earn? He's fighting and scrapping for his life in the NFL. Huge implications to this game. The Bears are at home. The Vikings have no Justin Jefferson. I think the Vikings come out with a ton of energy, a ton of juice early because everyone's doubting them, counting them out. Trade Kirk Cousins, no Justin Jefferson. I think they get an early lead. I think you'll see Justin Fields and the talent that the Chicago Bears have against that bad Vikings defense show up late. I think the Bears find a way to win late and another heartbreaking 1-possession loss for the Vikings. I'm taking the Bears 27-24 victory over the Vikings. But I'll tell you what, I truly believe this is going to be one of those games. It's an absolute nail-biter. It's a disaster. Ugly disaster. I know my guy Austin Hawkins sending the crying face. I think it's a disaster for both teams. I think there's going to be times I'm tweeting during this game going, I hate everything. Fire Eberflus into Lake Michigan. I just know it's going to happen. And then I just think in the end, the Bears, the arrow is trending in the right direction. For the Vikings, the arrow is spinning. It's a whirling dervish of, do we trade Kirk Cousins? Justin Jefferson is on IR. And so I think I'm going to trust in that, and the Bears find a way to win at home. If this game was in Minnesota, I'd be like, the Bears are dead. Like, there's the juju is all off. But I think because it's in Chicago, I think that helps Chicago out. So it's ugly game, 2 1-4 teams, but I think the implications of this game are massive for the loser. I mean, just massive. For the Vikings, it means, do we trade Kirk Cousins? Season spiral, season over. For the Bears, if they lose, it's like, do we have to fire our coach? Is our quarterback not the guy? I mean, you don't want to be the loser of this game, the franchise. And one of these teams is going to be in heck on Monday morning. Seahawks at the Bengals. It's a huge game for both teams. Seattle coming off the bye. You kind of forget about the teams on the bye. They're 3-1, playing really solid football so far on the year. And they get to go to Cincinnati, where historically Pete Carroll actually traveling to the East Coast, he has a winning record. So, he gets his team up for these early games on the East Coast. Cincinnati, though, finally starting to turn things around. Jamar Chase, they finally just had the breakout game. It felt like the dam broke loose and everything's now kumbaya for the Bengals. I think it's a really fun, entertaining game. I think it might be the most entertaining game of that noon slate. I'll take the Bengals to stay hot, find a way to win at home. Jamar Chase is another go-off game. The Boyd and the weapons show up. Joe Mixon shows up for the Bengals. They win in a fun shootout, 30-27 at home over the Seahawks. 49ers at the Browns. This is everyone's talking about Deshaun Watson. What is going on with Deshaun Watson? Cleared to play, cleared to practice by the doctors, but still not good to go with the shoulder. Missed last week, going to miss this week against San Francisco. They're paying him all this money. He's not had a great season so far. The Browns are 2-2. This is, obviously the Niners are going to win. There's no Deshaun Watson. It is a wild situation. I feel like they're hiding things from us, and he's hiding things from us. You know my thoughts on Deshaun Watson and the Browns overall. PJ Walker getting the start. I could see this being a little bit of a sleepwalk game for the Niners, but there's just no way they lose this game. Do they cover the 9.5? I think this game goes one of two ways. It's either just a bloodbath from the start and it's an easy cover, or the Niners take it, are going to sleepwalk through the game, know they can win it, and pull away late. Either way, the Niners are winning. I wouldn't touch the line on this because I just don't. You don't know the mentality of a team when they know they're not playing the starting quarterback, but they are on the road. You're not getting Dorian Thompson and Robinson. PJ Walker's a capable player. It's an ugly game. The Niners will win. Just stay away from that game. But the Browns situation, a disaster. They're going to fall to under 500. Deshaun Watson missing 2 games early in the season while he's been medically cleared. Very weird situation for the Browns. 0-5 Panthers at the 4-1 Dolphins. The line is 14. Yeah, I mean, the Dolphins should win this game, and they should win it by 14. It's in Miami. It's going to be hot, 80-degree weather. The Panthers will be baking in the sun. You got a coach talking about how the owner wants to meet every day. Ugh, David Tepper, owner of the Panthers. Listen, don't do it, bro. Stay out of the day-to-day. Let your coaches coach. Let your general managers general manage. Stay out of the day-to-day. Find a hobby. Get involved with something else. Maybe once a month, check in. Hey, we're 0-5. I want to, just kind of feeling it out. But the daily meetings and your coach having to go on the press conferences saying, like, yeah, it's not fun. Like, ugly situation for Carolina. I've said it before, and I'll say it again with Carolina. They're in real trouble until they revamp this roster. The only way Bryce Young is a successful NFL quarterback, and his ceiling is Tua/Brock Purdy. So that already is not the highest ceiling, right? But your ceiling is Tua/Brock Purdy. It's not Josh Allen. It's not Patrick Mahomes. It's not Justin Herbert. Your ceiling is Tua, Brock Purdy if you're Bryce Young. So you got to build the roster around them. You just got to build a roster for him to compete. So, like I've said it before, I'll say it again with the Panthers. If Bryce Young leaves the week healthy and not going off to the sidelines or dealing with an injury, then it's a positive week for the Panthers. It's a disaster in Carolina. Miami, this should be another one. Just rack up the points, rack up the yards, and keep putting up historic numbers if you're the Miami Dolphins. Colts, Jaguars. Listen, I actually think the Colts are a really good play here. They're plus 4.5. I would take the Colts to the points. I don't know if they win, but I think they keep it really close. Gardner Minshew revenge game. There's no worry about who's the starter. It's all on Gardner Minshew. Listen, you don't want Minshew starting a whole season, but having to start a couple games here or there, especially against a division rival in a place he knows really well with Jacksonville. The Jaguars, I think, will win. They have more talent. They have the better quarterback. They're at home, but I think this is a close one. I think this is a fun kind of shootout game. I'll take the Jaguars 27-24 in a win at home over the Colts. But I like, if you're looking to hunt some plus signs here, the Colts are a really nice underdog this week at plus 4.5. Saints, Texans at Houston. Houston is at home and they're underdogs plus 2. I like them to win this game. The New Orleans is coming off this gigantic win on the road at New England, putting a nail in the coffin of Bill Belichick and the Patriots, kind of shocking the world, shocking me. I had the Patriots in that game last week. I think it's a huge comeback down to earth game. I think this Texans defense and offense is a lot more put together right now than the New England Patriots. It's in Houston. Now, I really like the Texans here. I like them to win at home. C.J. Stroud still hasn't thrown an interception. He's really taking care of the football. He's getting into his playmakers' hands. The team is stepping up around C.J. Stroud, and he's seeing the field really clearly. I asked the question, over the last 3 years of quarterbacks drafted, from the Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields draft to this year's draft, C.J. Stroud might be the second best quarterback in that whole group of guys. I mean, better than Zach Wilson, better than Trey Lance, certainly better than anyone else in his class this year. Bryce Young, Anthony Richardson, or Will Levis. The class ahead of him, he's better than Kenny Pickett. Looks like I'd rather have C.J. Stroud than Kenny Pickett. Certainly looks better than the Malik Willises, the Desmond Ritters, the Sam Howells. Brock Purdy, maybe you say, okay, Brock Purdy's playing better football than him, but again, he's got that roster. Justin Fields. I mean, C.J. Stroud's been extremely impressive. The organization has been extremely impressive so far this year. I like the Texans to find a way to win at home against a very good New Orleans Saints defense and a very good New Orleans Saints team. Hard for the Saints to be 2 weeks on the road, especially coming off a big blowout win for them. I think it's a comeback to earth game. Texans at home win in a close one, something along the lines of 24-20 against New Orleans. Patriots against the Raiders. This is a stay-away game. I have no idea. I got no idea. As soon as you count the Patriots out, I feel like I'm going to look like an idiot for picking the Raiders. But then I know I feel like an idiot for picking Josh McDaniels because he's so dumb. He's such a bad coach with his chubby face and the sideline and that visor, just kicking field goals when he should go for it. I hate Josh McDaniels. I love Bill Belichick, but they're terrible. They're hot garbage. I have no idea. I'm going to take the Raiders because they're at home and they have Max Crosby, who's a freak, and they have Jimmy G, who's playing better than Mac. They have better weapons offensively. So I'm just going to take the Raiders, but I want you to know right now I feel dumb taking the Raiders. Just know that I feel dumb and stupid taking the Raiders. You should too, so don't bet it and just probably don't watch it. It will be a circus, Austin, I agree. I don't know who's going to win. But for the Raiders, if they can find a way to win and get to 3-3, who would have saw that coming from them? And would have to feel good vibes to get a W like that. Cardinals at the Rams. I love the Rams in this game. Listen, the Cardinals are without James Conner. They've done a really good job of proving to us that they're scrappy and they're going to fight hard. But now it feels like the tank is officially on. You know, Josh Dobbs, it's a lot. It's a lot for a guy like Josh Dobbs to be in and out starting like this. I love the Rams in this game. The Rams are that underdog, scrappy team. They almost took care of Philadelphia last week. They stay at home. Sean McVay against the Cardinals has been very good in his career. I think the Rams take care of business. The Rams never win easy. It'll be ugly. It'll be close. Stafford will throw a stupid interception. But Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp, they're gelling together. I like the Rams in this game. I'll take them to cover the 7. 27-17, but it's closer than that most of the game. Rams will take care of the Cardinals. Eagles at the Jets. I love the Eagles in this game. I wanted the Eagles almost to be my lock of the week at -6.5. The only reason I didn't go that way is because the game is in New York and the weather's going to be wet and sloppy. The East Coast is getting a lot of rain. It could be wet. Late game, the Jets defense is very good. The Jets are coming off a huge win. Their vibes are really high for the Jets right now. And so I'm going to take the Eagles. I think the Eagles will win. The Eagles have been kind of playing down to their opponents, and we haven't seen a complete game from the Eagles yet. I think this is one of those where the defense really shows up, makes Zach Wilson's life uncomfortable and frustrating him. I like the Eagles to be able to find ways to score against a good Jets defense. I think they run the ball well in the bad conditions. I like the Philly to win. I would say take the Eagles in the points. I think they'll cover it, but it is not my official lock. Remember, my lock of the week is the Ravens -4.5 time zones. Time zones. Ravens got there 4 days before the Titans. Time zones in London. The Lions at the Bucks. Lions are the better team. Lions have more talent. Lions have the better quarterback. I like the Lions coaching staff more. I just, for some reason, this feels like one of those games. It's like, it just feels like one of those games. It's like, why are the Bucks up 24-13? Like late in the third? It just feels like one of those games to me where we're like, are the Bucks for real? Like, or do we have to really start caring about the Bucks? I think in the end, the Lions win this game. I'm going to stay away from it gambling wise. I'll take the Lions to win. The Lions offensive line and defensive line is so impressive to me. Hutchinson's been playing really solid football. The offensive line for the Lions is just definitely a top 3 offensive line in the league. David Montgomery, I think you'll see the Lions lean on him. Heavy dosage of Montgomery. Looks like Amon-Ra St. Brown is going to be back for this game. I'm going to trust Jared Goff to protect the football more than Baker. I think the Lions defensive line can make Baker a little more uncomfortable than the Bucks can make Jared Goff uncomfortable. I'm going to trust that. I think it's a close game. I'll take the Lions in a win, 27-24 in Tampa. But it won't shock me if Tampa's absolutely in this game. It just feels like one of those games, late window, hot, outdoors for the Lions. You know, feels like they're better in the dome. And they're not 100% healthy right now. Going to be missing probably Jahmyr Gibbs. Amon-Ra St. Brown, not 100%, even if he plays. But I'm going to stick with the fact that the Lions are a really good football team. I believe in that. I think they'll find a way to win. And I don't think the Bucs are for real. And they're really scrappy and they're a fun watch, but I don't think they're for real. Sunday Night Football, don't watch it. Please find something else to watch on Sunday night. My wife and I just watched Knock at the Cabin Door, the latest M. Night Shyamalan film, came out last year. That was fun. It's weird. Gets you thinking. We also watched Smile, that horror film that came out last year with Kevin Bacon and his daughter. That was freaky. It's a good watch. Don't watch this game. Bills by $1 billion. I mean, no Daniel Jones, Tyrod Taylor. There's some storylines. The only thing I will say that has the Giants, that would have me a little concerned if I was a Bills fan, is that it's Tyrod Taylor, not Daniel Jones. And that Brian Daboll might try to send a message to his ownership of like, look what I can do when I don't have Daniel Jones. Like, that's the only thing that would concern me. The Bills will win this game, bounce back at home from London. But would it shock me if the Giants find a way to late cover because, Daboll pulls out all the stops and wants to show it's not me, it's him, with the rift between him and Daniel Jones right now? Maybe, but don't watch this game. It's going to be disaster. Monday Night Football should be a fun one. Should be really entertaining. Dallas Cowboys at the Chargers. Chargers coming off the bye, 2-2 at home against a Cowboys team that was shellacked on national TV last Sunday night. I love the Chargers in this game. It's going to sound like a Dallas Cowboys home game. It's absolutely going to be a Cowboys crowd in Los Angeles. But I love the Chargers in this game, and the Chargers are my upset of the week. The Chargers are underdogs at home against a Dallas team that just got the doors kicked off of them a week ago on Sunday Night Football. I love that. Austin Eckler coming back. I get the better quarterback. I get the more explosive offense, and I get them at home in primetime against Mike McCarthy and his very, very conservative, underwhelming play calling so far this year, and a Dallas defense that is missing their best corner. Love the Bolts. Bolt up. Chargers are my upset of the week, +2. I can't believe I'm getting the Chargers at plus money. So there you go. My official 2 picks, my upset of the week. Chargers +2. Lock, Ravens -4.5. Trust the time zones. The Ravens got there on Monday. The Titans got there basically Friday morning. Trust it. When we come back, talk a little college football. We got some NBA to start wrapping up the show. It's On the Mark, News Talk 1070 KHMO and the KHMO app.
In 2007, Marine First Lieutenant Travis Manion was killed in Iraq after saving his wounded teammates. Travis's legacy lives on through the 5 words he spoke before leaving for his final deployment. If not me, then who? Words that today fuel the spirit of Travis Manion Foundation. Words that live in veterans, families of the fallen, and inspired civilians who go out of their way to find a way, who help others with the help of others, who bounce back after each setback, who make good on good intentions. Through Travis Manion Foundation, if not me, then who, are words that can live in you too. Show the world what your character is made of, because character is invisible until it's not. Find out how you can strengthen the character of your community alongside empowered veterans, families of the fallen, and inspired civilians at travismanion.org. That's travismanion.org.
When poison happens, Poison Help is here. We're the free 24/7 hotline that answers your poison questions, with expert advice available at no charge. Make the right call in a poison emergency. Call Poison Help. 1-800-222-1222.
Get set to follow.
Forecast from the News Talk 1070 KHMO Weather Center. Overcast today with a high of 56. North winds 15 to 20 miles per hour. Slight chance for scattered showers tonight. Lows level off around 46. Overcast skies. Cloudy again tomorrow. 55. Right now 52.
Welcome on back down the Mark here on News Talk 1070 KHMO and the KHMO app, brought to you by Cunis Honda Hyundai. Stop by the dealership today at 221 North 36th Street in Quincy. Right from 9 a.m. to noon, they're having their big cars and coffee event. They're giving away donuts, coffee. They're going to be showing off some classic cars. Stop by the dealership, Cunis Honda Hyundai, 221 North 36th Street in Quincy. Tell them Mark sent you. 3 games to watch in the world of college football today. Number 8, 5-0 Oregon at number 7, 5-0 Washington. Huge game. I mean, absolute playoff implications. Bo Nix versus Michael Penix Jr. These two teams are both for real. Both these teams are headed to the Big Ten next year. Both of these teams very capable, I think, of beating anyone in the country. It's at Washington. It's going to look beautiful. It's a gorgeous stadium they have up there. That'll be must-watch. That's a must-watch game. I'm taking Oregon in the win at Washington. I love Oregon's speed. I think that Oregon, after what they did to Colorado, the fact that they got over that mental hurdle, I think they are locked in this year. And to me, overall, with Bo Nix, they look like a more complete playoff team. But would it shock me if Washington won? Absolutely not. Michael Penix Jr. has been terrific. USC, number 10, 6-0 at Notre Dame, number 21, 5-2. Anytime USC and Notre Dame get together, it's great, especially when USC is undefeated. They're at Notre Dame. Notre Dame has nothing to lose but to play spoiler. You have a great quarterback battle here. The defense for USC has been terrible. They're terrible at stopping. The run, and Notre Dame can run the football. I think that's going to be the late game to watch after the Oregon-Washington game. I'll take Caleb Williams in prime time, putting up big numbers in a shootout victory for USC over Notre Dame. And then finally, can Miami bounce back? Miami had one of the worst losses I've ever seen a college team or an NFL team happen with that. They should have taken a knee. They fall to 4-1. They're ranked 25. They're at number 12, 5-0 UNC. Drake May, his season's been a little up and down. Everyone's talking about him as a high draft pick. Show up, ball out at home, beat Miami, kick them while they're down. I'll take UNC, but that's a huge implication. Those are 3 games to watch this weekend. Take a quick break. Wrap it up the show next.
Business owner.
Kids, they're just different than us. They have no inhibitions, consider silverware optional, and can find fun anywhere. When kids get really sick, they're different than us too. That's why the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society is introducing the Dare to Dream Project. With the largest global clinical trial for kids with blood cancer, it'll be the biggest medical advancement for little patients in history. Help transform treatment and care for kids and support all the work we do at LLS.org.
1070 KHMO.
Welcome on back to On the Mark here on News Talk 1070 KHMO. The KHMO app brought to you by Cunis Honda Hyundai. Stop by the dealership today. Until noon, they're going to have the classic cars out there. They're giving away coffee, giving away donuts. 221 North 36th Street in Quincy. Cunis Honda Hyundai. Tell them Mark sent you. All right. The ESPN player rankings came out. You know, they do that 100 through 1. It is funny because it's like there's only like 150 dudes on in the NBA. Like, you know, there's not a ton of to do the top 100. It's like most of the NBA is on that list by a long shot. When you do the NFL top 100, it's like a small percentage of players actually make the list. But I thought the top 10 was very interesting. Anthony Davis 10, LeBron James 9. I have no problem with either of those rankings. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander at 8. Really, a lot of Shai has just become the Ja Morant now, right? Like he's now the young guard everyone's in love with. And I like Shai a ton too. I think he is a really, really electric watch. And I think his game is built for a little more longevity compared to a Ja Morant, a Russell Westbrook. Kevin Durant, 7, just behind Jason Tatum. I have no problems with that. Jason Tatum's younger. Jason Tatum is a little bit more physical still and better on the defensive end. Kevin Durant, his body, just can you trust it in an 82-game season? Steph Curry at 5, no problems there. I think Steph is absolutely still, can you say, a top 5 player in the NBA. And then all the foreign-born guys. Luka 4, Joel Embiid 3, Nikola Jokic 2, Giannis Antetokounmpo 1. I would have put Nikola 1 after the year he had. You know me, I've been a Giannis guy. I think both, you flip a coin to the 2 best players on the planet right now. Joel Embiid is very, very good, but he's not a playoff player. He's not as successful in that way. I I can't wait to watch the year that Giannis is going to have. And Jokic, he has a chance to really now, because he's officially arrived and he's got a ring, playing without that pressure. I think you're going to see Jokic absolutely have another MVP type of season. These two guys, they are so much fun to watch, and for different reasons. Diamondbacks versus Phillies, Rangers, Astros in the AL and NLCS. I personally want to see Phillies, Rangers. I think the Rangers pitching staff, what they did in the offseason, and the Phillies just hit bombs. I think that's more fun. I'm just not a Astros. I'm sick of the Astros storyline. I think the MLB can sell the defending champs Astros going for 2 in a row versus the big market in Philly. I don't think the MLB does not want Diamondbacks Rangers. That's not good for the MLB. The MLB wants Philly, and I think they would prefer a rematch with Houston. It's easy for people to watch. It's easy for the storylines. It's giant markets, Houston and Philly, both top 10 markets in the country. I think the MLB wants Phillies, Astros. I personally would rather see Phillies, Rangers. I think the Phillies are the most fun team in baseball to watch right now. Playoff ball in Philly is absolutely wild. I agree. And they just hit bombs. Castellanos, Harper, Schwarber. They are electric. Kimbrel on that pitching staff as well. But the Astros going back to back, I think is a real storyline for the MLB, as the NFL is just dominating headlines. It's a storyline they can get behind. I would like to see Phillies, Rangers. I think the MLB would like to see Phillies, Astros. If it's D-backs, Rangers, I think the MLB is worried about their ratings. And they should be if it's that. All right, we got a great weekend of football ahead. Thank you so much for making me a part of your Saturday morning. As always, follow the show On the Mark KHMO on Facebook. Follow me on Twitter, on Instagram, at Mark Hespen, MarkHespen. As always, we have KHMO is the home of Mizzou football, so you can listen to some Mizzou football in the airways today. They got a big game against Kentucky. Shout out, Go Tigers. Enjoy it. I will see you next Saturday for episode 207 of On the Mark here on News Talk 1070 KHMO and the KHMO app.
Looking for a career change?